Next Monday.
D1 fed.
Oh yeah, wait.
Half the shit I said was not on that shit.
That's why we love Duncan, bro. I'm not gonna lie, Grant lost hella weight. Yo, Diomar, bro. Grant lost hella weight, bro.
I know.
Wait, did you lose like 3 pounds running rowing, bro? It's Grant, bro.
Yeah. He told us it's because of growing. Yes.
It is, because Diomar lost 3 pounds.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like,
I lost 3 pounds one day.
yeah, you're a damn wrestler, Brandon
I lost
Mercado.
10 pounds in
Yeah, it's okay.
4 days. That was fun.
Nah, nigga.
I don't know where you're going. Talk to a nigga who cares. That's all.
No. Alright, computer's right. Alright, so as I said, you've covered a decent amount of material in the past few weeks. Okay. Rory told me that you guys weren't getting enough work and that's why I interim up to next Wednesday.
I did not. Rory.
Let's go, Rory! Cut it up!
Rory said next Wednesday would be a really good day
Oh,
for
that
a
would be the
midterm.
worst day. That's the worst day.
Nah, bro, it's that actually happened. I just like.
Wait, Wednesday?
That Dr. Chang's midterm.
Wait, when's next Wednesday?
So
You can't do that to my man. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sensei.
I gotta go to NJIC.
All the more reason. Now every time we go to
That's
class,
how we agree.
No, word.
Could be worse, you could have a midterm, 2 midterms on Dr. Johnson. Me.
that'd be like the worst day of all time.
Rory, from what I hear, Rory said this class is easy.
Okay,
We should really say,
You're just having him up, bro.
I'm joking. Rory did not say any of that. I just know he has a calc midterm on Wednesday. So I was,
So you want to be extra? You just have to hype him
I was attempting to be extra mean.
You just have to give him the motivation.
I am lying. There is no midterm.
there's no midterm at all? No midterm?
No, there's
Next Wednesday.
next Wednesday.
Right?
Thursday.
However, we have covered a lot of content. We do have a midterm coming up. I think I got it as March 4th in the syllabus.
Yeah.
And I think we're off.
Yeah, we are.
So it'll be March 5th.
Wait, we have it.
We're off on March 4th.
Yeah. It's 5 days. Because it's a teacher's day.
So I might have to rethink this. No, we might have to do it next Friday.
Cancel the midterm also.
Yeah, extra shoes.
Nah, you won't hit.
Alright, thank you. So I won't move it up. Let me double check the calendar and we'll discuss whether it'll be the 5th or the 6th. We finished the Tong Dynasty. We finished the Tong Dynasty.
Young Dynasty.
Long dynasty.
World history.
The long dynasty.
It always ends with the Mongols, bro. Always ends with the Mongols.
So anyways, like I said, we've covered a lot of content. I told you guys yesterday. Don't be surprised if we might have a quiz or 2 or 3 coming up.
The third one is the first.
So you guys should actually know the material. I will not put it all in the midterm for you. It'll come in the midterm itself, but this will be a good review practice.
Bless you.
And we can test out today how we're doing, right, Mateo? So Mateo, if I was going to ask you to name for me one of the pillars of Islam, what would it be? Come on, give me one.
Don't look at me,
Amadou. The Hajj, what is the Hajj? Amadou, you gotta wait your turn. Amadou, what is the Hajj?
No, I got one.
They do what to Mecca? What do we call that event when a bunch of religious people go to a holy site? They travel to it. There's a word for it. That one. Pilgrimage. Pilgrimage. Okay? And during what month does it occur? Our good muscle here. Yeah. What month does it occur? Okay, but what month does it occur?
The 9th month of the lunar calendar.
Thank you. The 9th month of the lunar calendar. Okay? Give me another pillar. Raise your hands, please. Charlie, go ahead.
The Salah,
Which is?
where you have to pray 5 times every single day.
Facing?
Facing the I forgot what it's called.
Anyone help him out? Yeah, either will work, that's fine. And so what happens if you're in outer space?
You just face the
You just
ground.
face the
What's the issue if you're inside the Kaaba?
you don't know which direction you don't know which direction you should face.
Every direction.
What's another pillar of Islam? The tomb of Jesus is not a pillar of Islam.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on the tomb of Jesus being a pillar of Islam? Muhammad, what was, Muhammad. Out of curiosity, Avenu, what would like, your local imam say about this? That's right. Mistakes are okay as long as you don't make them twice, right? Elijah. Elijah.
The zakat.
What is the zakat?
The zakat is where you pay, 10% of your wealth?
Is that what it is?
No.
You pay,
Income.
Give him a sec.
what is it? Your income, like you pay, I ain't very much, to pay obligatory charity each year.
Okay. Derek, can you help him out?
How much? I don't know.
You pay 2.5% of your wealth.
2.5% of your wealth. Who pays 10?
The Christian, that's called tithing.
Of your income, and what's it called?
Tithing.
Tithing. Okay, good. Give me another pillar. I would never avoid 300. I already called on you once. You got one for me?
Yeah, I do.
All right,
That's
let's
how
go.
I've been raising my hand.
I thought you had like a scratch or something, you know?
No, the Shahada.
Ah, the Shahada. What is the Shahada?
Since they believe in one God and the prophethood of Muhammad.
Excellent. No, you'll be doing that on the pop quiz. Well, if I told you when, it wouldn't be a pop quiz, would it?
You could give it to us right now.
Daniel, have you got any help yet?
Nah, Sebastian keeps talking about, what's the guy that he's saying something that doesn't sound right. No, I'm talking about
playing it. God told something about what
Rory,
What's up?
what's the last pillar of Islam?
What we said? No, but you said Shahada.
If you were paying attention, you wouldn't have the same law.
I wasn't paying. We talk about the Siyam, however you say it, like to fast
Okay?
during Ramadan.
When?
It changes each year.
But when during Ramadan?
Like from sundown to sunset.
Isn't sundown to sunset?
Rory.
Is that when you're praying to the tomb of Jesus? Anybody want to help Rory out?
Let me go
Sunrise to
from dawn to sunset.
Actually,
Rafishan, can you tell me the names of the 3 caliphates we've studied?
The Rashidun,
Rashidun?
the Umayyad, and no, I forgot the last one.
Who can help him out?
Ambassador.
Ambassador? Ambassador. Shahad, can you tell me the first 4 caliphs of the Rashidun Caliphate in order? Uthman and Ali. Okay. Ezekiel. Outside of Abu Bakr, what do the other 3 caliphs have in common?
They're all chosen before him.
Nope.
Are they not?
Come on, boss.
Are all the
They were all chosen by Ashura, that is correct, but so was Abu Bakr.
before even like what's name?
Diamar.
Fox, I got you.
Tim Slim 69.
Yay! You're all killed. And I was right.
Well, you should have said it. You have a little confidence in yourself. Let's talk about some battles, Luis.
Yeah, let's talk.
What battle ended in a tie?
In a tie? Karbala?
No.
Siffin?
Yes, when did it happen?
657.
Okay. What battle is still celebrated today under the name of Ashura? Who said it? You? Louder. Karbala, yeah? Okay. What battle ended the Umayyad dynasty? Oh. Brandon. Darley.
The battle of Zab.
The battle of who?
What is the battle of Zab?
What is this, fucking Jeopardy?
It is.
That is correct, then. Is that for like $300?
No.
What was the battle of what?
Battle of Zab.
Yo, serious, that was great. I'm gonna do good when I said it.
We haven't gotten there yet. Okay?
What was the battle?
What event happened in China 4 years before Muhammad made the Hijrah?
Oh, yes.
Shariah.
Can you repeat the question?
What event in China happened 4 years before Muhammad made the Hijrah? He's like, we gotta give him a second. Okay, Mr. Ledesma, can you help him out?
The start of the Tang Dynasty.
Start of the Tang Dynasty. So the Tang Dynasty begins right around the same time. Muhammad's starting out. Building of Islam. Why don't you throw that out and then come take your favorite seat? Okay. Just because you sit in my class 3 out of the 4 blocks out of the day doesn't mean that you can sit in the last one and misbehave. So go throw that shit out and come sit up here. Let's go. Then that can go away. You don't need that. We're all waiting. What event happened in Europe 50 years after the Battle of Zab?
You said 50 years after?
Come on, redeem yourself.
Years after the battle was
50. Mr. Segura, you want me to call on you?
50 years? Years?
That's what you gotta figure out.
Can you repeat the question?
What event happened 50 years after the Battle of Zab?
In Europe?
Hmm.
Let's see.
Billy, you know?
Charlemagne,
Yes. Say louder.
since it was 800, balance off with 750 CE. Charlemagne and the agreement was 800 CE.
Yep, so what happened between Charlemagne and who?
The Pope,
Which one?
Leo,
There are a lot of Leos. Is he over there? Pope Leo the what?
Third,
Thank you. And what happened between the two of them?
they made an agreement.
What agreement?
Charlemagne,
Guys, keep quiet.
Yeah.
Sebastian?
Charlemagne conquers land in the name of the Holy Roman Empire.
And he gets
He's the Holy Roman Emperor.
he gets to be the Holy Roman Emperor. Okay? Now, 89 years before that, the King or Queen of Spain had a significant event happen. Hmm?
Said 89 years.
Before.
They were conquered by the Umayyads.
Correct. Right? We had the Battle of the Slurpee.
7-11.
Okay? So, there are a number of specific things that could be asked. You often get asked to know what events happened around the same time period, so make the connections. Okay? And realize that, I could ask anything both factual or not, and you will not, the quizzes will not be open book or slide. Okay? So begin preparing for them. Cool? Any questions on that?
No. It's tomorrow?
Is what tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. Okay. You also have some vocab due Monday. Correct?
Yes.
I was going for you $20.
Yeah, do you want for okay? But you forget the moral of the story. I don't actually care if you do it. I just care if you know the answers to the quiz. Right? One of the words that you will come across this week is pastoral.
Like in like a rural area.
Tyler, did you catch Tyler? Is that Rick Brady on the side?
What is
It's Thursday, bro.
What? I didn't hire him to do anything. He started off asking me if I would put up pictures of certain people, and I said, sure.
Holy side
I'll stick you with words.
Stay in Kim, stay in Kim.
Disney Channel asked me, what the fuck?
So anyways, yeah, no, Riley, I think wanted to get Mike or somebody back on that. And then it sort of continued and it was like a,
Who does he think he is?
I sure I'll post another picture for you. And, now he's actually gotten into it, so you're all fucked.
Yeah, you see Instagram, he has a picture of
There's no
everybody.
pictures of me.
Riley doesn't know me.
He does not give me no pictures of me.
Entire
Tom will never help him with calc again.
Making that happen.
And now I'll definitely say no when it's the
Yo, one of y'all send me the notes for the battles, bro. I have none of the battles.
Bro, it's all on the sides.
Is it too much?
I feel like that's something to say.
Let's be good with
I'm even nice to you in the other classes. I reserve it all for this. Yeah, okay, I'll leave it. Alright, so a pastoral society is one in which social groups are organized around their animals. The domestication and herding of animals. Has nothing to do with being a pastor, has nothing to do with anything else along those lines.
But don't some, like, pastors now tie it into religion?
Meaning what? Like homesteading? They might.
Because, like, the pastor of a Longstreet, like, he refers to, like, him being the pastor and, like, the people being, like, the sheep.
Oh, sure, I mean, well, there's references in the Bible to that concept, yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that your pastor lives in a pastoral society.
Oh, so it's different.
Correct. Right? Like, the words have similar roots and kind of come from same types of definitions, but the the use of them are totally different. Okay? So take the word pastoral out of religion, and it has a very different meaning.
So if I was a priest and lived on a farm, I'd be a pastor with a pasture.
You would be a pastor with a pasture, and if you adopted a semi-nomadic life and your people traveled with you, you would also be pastoral. Okay? So, the Mongolians were a pastoral society. Their social or socioeconomic hierarchy, unlike the other ones that we have studied so far, which were all feudal in shape and size and look and feel, was actually pastoral. Okay? Life centers around your flock and ensuring that they are looked after and that they are fed. And generally that means, in a typical fashion, you are going from one set of feeding grounds in the summer to another one in the winter. Okay? As an example, when I was driving from Mount Everest down to Kathmandu in Nepal, I came across thousands and thousands of sheep and goats that wintered in Nepal and summered in Tibet. And the shepherds, the people who looked after them, had the rights to go between the two countries to look after their flock. Okay? The Mongolians did it for a couple reasons. One is that it gets pretty butt-ass cold in Mongolia in the winter. For those of you who know Celsius, Ulaanbaatar is like minus 30. You know, on average.
Average.
Okay. It doesn't get really hot, but it does get warm. So.
52. Wait, what is
Minus 30 would be in Fahrenheit is what, minus 12 Fahrenheit? What? 22? At minus 40, they cross back over. And Fahrenheit is actually registered colder than Celsius does. It's kind of weird how the scale goes. So, the coldest average temperature for a large city in the world is actually Yakutsk,
Where's the?
north of Mongolia and Siberia. It is so cold, and this is actually true in Canada as well. You have to keep your car running all the time. So you actually have a electric plug that goes from your engine to a block heater, and you keep it running all the time. Otherwise, the oil will freeze.
That's crazy, bro. How long
That's
does it take?
devious.
Not
Is
that
that not annoying when you're trying to see?
No, I mean, I don't know.
It's like,
I mean, it's so cold that I was reading a story about how people that live, and they were talking about how they will often eat their dinner in the car because it's the only place that's warm.
What?
Because the average temperature in the winter is like minus 50 something
They're not even warm?
Celsius. But they have like a rule like anything under minus 50 kids still have to go to school. And then like when it gets like above minus 50 or minus 55, they'll do like delayed openings or some other kind of thing for the kids. They showed a kid how they got dressed in the morning, and not like anything bad, but like all the layers that they had to put on to go outside. And it's like they're literally hopping in one snowsuit after another snowsuit after another snowsuit. It's kind of fun.
Wasn't 8:50?
Wait, so they don't have heat in their house, they have to eat in their car?
What, but no matter what, like they don't keep all their rooms heated,
Okay.
right? And so what do you got? What was minus 55? So minus 50 Fahrenheit. Celsius is minus 58 Fahrenheit. It's just damn cold. Honestly, anything under minus 30 doesn't make that much of a difference. I've been in minus 55 Celsius before. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, the air is like super thick, and so as you're walking around, like it's actually harder to breathe. And every step you take is like crunch, crunch. Like it doesn't matter whether, I mean, there's always snow on the ground.
Like,
Like that.
you can't pick your feet up.
Like it's just, it's like, I don't know, you're walking through thicker, denser
So it's
air.
like walking through.
Okay, so would it snow like every day or like every other day?
It can actually, I don't know, I mean, the colder it is, it actually prevents the precipitation from coming down. So, and I don't know exactly how that works, but I know that like, when it got too cold in Toronto, like it was less likely to snow. So, anyways, so back to, well, is there anything else? Yeah, my other funny one about Yakutsk is they'll sometimes eat their dinners frozen, so it's like a popsicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, it didn't look like all that much fun, to be honest. I'm kind of all for like, you know, it being a bit warm and hot. I've spent too many years in Toronto. No need to go. No need to do it. So animal herding is their primary form of livelihood, okay? For the Mongols, it was horses, to some degree camels, sheep, okay? Depending upon exactly where you were in Mongolia. Nomadic or semi-nomadic. Nomadic means that you are moving around all the time and you have no permanent home or base whatsoever. Semi-nomadic could mean that you return to the same place every winter. So a lot of societies that were nomadic would return to the same place, and that's how they would form relationships and continue traditions or whatever have you. But during the rest of the year, they would all go out and do their own thing. We looked for the Germanic tribes back in Europe, the Visigoths, the Vandals, even the Vikings to some degree. Many of them were semi-nomadic. So they didn't really care about building up large cities. They would move from one town to another, you know, ransacking and pillaging and taking what they wanted. That was their way of life. The structure, the political structure of society was absolutely based upon family ties. And you guys have all watched enough anime movies, you've heard about clans. It was all clan based. What was that?
Oh no, the song is actually like a good
Um, So politics was largely determined based upon your family and your family's relationship to other clans. And yes, you would have marriages between clans and things like that. But it kind of, came down to ultimately who had the most livestock and horses, because that was how you measured wealth, status and everything. Issues that came up would generally get resolved through clan elders. Sometimes you would go to war, sometimes not. Okay? We know that they would trade with agricultural societies for most of the stuff they didn't have. So we talked last time about how they traded with the Song dynasty. Right? They stole their horses and then attempted to sell them back. Okay, now, they did other things as well, okay? They would make saddles, they would provide leather, they would provide meat, all this other jazz. But, one of the things that ended up screwing the Songs at the end was that the Mongols were pretty good at raiding and would raid vulnerable towns and then use it to force the Songs to give up other things to them. One of the things that they did in a word that you need to know the definition to is subsistence agriculture, or subsistence farming. Okay? Subsistence farming. Okay? Which generally means that you produce enough for your family, and that's about it. What you're not doing is producing excess crops.
So you're only providing for your family.
Yeah.
No extras?
Nope. The extras that you might do, like for example, potatoes, right? That's stored through the winter. Things along those lines. But it's still generally just meant for your family. And you would only get to that point if you were semi-nomadic and say you wintered in a place or whatever happened. Because you have to be around long enough for them to grow and for you to be able to take care of them. Okay? So that's where that kind of stuff would come up. If you truly were nomadic and you were constantly moving, you would never get there. So subsistence farming is a concept that comes up all the time. When you look at economic development in poor countries, you will see this word come up all the time. People have plots in their backyard. How do you get them to have enough excess crop production? Economists look at this issue all the time when they're talking about rural Africa, for example, right? Which is, how do you get people who are living off the land to be able to do other stuff? Because if their entire day is spent around finding the caloric needs for their family, they're not gonna have time to do other stuff, like build things that they can sell and create a market economy.
I was gonna say, like, those, like, specific areas would be, like, very, very, self-centered, like, the community's not really, like, with each other.
They are, but in different ways, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got the door open and everything, ladies. I tried. Or is that Tilly? Was it, who smelled, Tilly or my classroom?
What the fuck?
Alright.
Diemar, you want me to ask him?
Do it.
So, that is what we refer to as subsistence farming, okay? It is a big topic when we talk about developmental economics. They generally had specialized knowledge of the environment. The story I like to tell of the Mongolians is that they were renowned horseback riders. They often had to do very long horseback rides. One of the things that they did to give them stamina was they would tap the vein of the horse and drink blood right out of the horse.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Which vein?
The one that ran down along the side of there. So,
Yo, y'all know what vein?
Tyler, okay? So, it's an example of How do you get really cheap calories and lots of protein?
Public?
Yeah, what do you gotta say? I don't make this shit up. Right? You can just sit there and be like, Elijah, stick the straw in. Yeah, I mean, you get to know it like there's a limit because you don't want to hurt the horse. Right? So there's only so much you drink, but I mean, the horse has got enough blood that you could drink until you probably puke and, you know.
I'm talking to this. I was talking to Tom. Why don't you hear about people after riding zebras?
Because, so it's a great question. We'll actually cover it after the Mongolians. Okay? But the short answer is that they've never figured out how to domesticate zebras. They tried. Africans. I mean, that's where zebras are. They live. They tried. A lot of people tried. They're apparently highly skittish. Like someone with ADHD, where you're trying to get them to focus and have them sit down. You know, they're like, hey, what's going on? You know, like that's a zebra.
And then the next day they would.
They kept doing that, and you know what happened every time? They got ate.
They died the best. They died.
So I have a book for you. You don't have to read it this semester, but of all people that I could think of, you would actually like it. Okay? It's called Guns, Germs, and Steel. Okay? It will fit on every intellectual aspect that you have, and you'll find it really cool. Okay? And there's copies of it. Okay? And we will talk about it. So, TimSim69 brings up this fascinating point that we'll hit after we go through the Mongol, which is as we get to the beginning of the 1400s, okay, we have had many great civilizations across the world, okay? And they all, some of them through knowledge sharing, some of them independently, developed great technology, advanced language, mathematics, coinage, number systems, all these things, okay? And yet, for a variety of reasons, when we hit the 1400s, in really short time, the European countries were able to take over the entire world and upheld really everything. And the question is why? Okay? So we will come back to that question. And it's one that even today, you'll see lots of people making race-based arguments, like white people are superior, black people have all these other things going on. Like, you'll hear these arguments, and there is this one particular author who wrote a book, and he's a scientist, and had a very unique perspective and explains in cold hard terms exactly why Europe was able to do what it did. So, anyways, like I said, we will talk about that. It is, it's a very important question, because it explains really what happens for the most recent 500 years of our history, and it has nothing to do with race, okay? Now, some of the things that Europeans did that time period, some of them were race-based, but a lot of the impact of what they did still resonates today, still has an impact today. So when we begin to talk about things like colonization and decolonization, these things are still going on. Like a lot of the major international issues that we confront today are directly a result of some of these things. And it's important for us to be able to resolve that. Okay. Alright.
What's the?
We need to talk about who's back then?
Oh yeah.
Alright, so, you know, I think I've also told you guys before about, like, you know, when we talked about specialized knowledge, alright, fine, tapping the vein of a horse is a little gross, but like, the Mongolians make full use of every horse product, okay? You can find horse milk cookies.
How do you get horse milk?
Same way you get any other.
Did us?
Do you want me to call Gallo in here and we can go through it? It works literally the same way. Well, you use the horse milk to make the cookies like you do any other one. Okay? One of like Mongolia's national drinks. I'm sure that has to do with bathroom.
No, I had it.
Yeah, sure.
I had it.
Is a drink called Irag, which is fermented mare's milk, or mare's milk vodka. Mare. Horse. Yeah. Well, I mean, alright, so, did we not go through this?
We did.
Like, alright, every society has figured out how to make booze. Okay?
What?
Every society has figured out how to make booze. Okay? Okay? And it's really simple. You take anything, particularly fruit-based, or milk-based, and you add a little bit of sugar to it, and let it sit, and it ferments. Okay? Whether we're talking about yogurt, or we're talking about sourdough bread. Right? Making pizza, you do it with yeast. Okay? You've read about, I'm sure you guys have seen a movie or read about how they make jailhouse booze.
Oh, yeah.
No.
No?
They make it in the toilet, right?
Yeah, you clean out one of the toilets, you throw out.
Oh yeah, so
You can.
It's not YouTube.
Right.
It's like in a movie or
You
something.
add like the leftover orange peels from your orange, or apple peels or something like that. You pop them in there with some water, you sprinkle a little sugar on it, let it sit for a couple days. This is where we got a discussion about tapachi. Tapachi, I was there. But tapachi is the exact same idea, right? You take, literally, to make tapachi, you take off the outer shell of the pineapple, you throw it into a container with water, you sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on it, you let it sit for about 10 days. And it makes a very very lightly alcohol. Yeah, it's like kombucha. It's like 3%.
Oh, that's pretty, that's not.
It's like 3%. But hey, if you're in jail,
It's easy.
take what you can get.
What the fuck is that?
So yeah, I mean, Mongolians do this with mare's
It's
milk.
easy credit. That's what do you do?
It's pretty disgusting,
Nothing.
at least from my opinion. Like mare's milk is maybe an acquired taste. However, when I had Timu over for dinner one night, I decided to fake it and tell him that I had found Iraq. And he's like, no way, how'd you find it? I'm like, I got it, right? I got it, trust with me. So all I did was I took whipping cream and I mixed it with white vinegar. Okay? And I brought it out to him. And he's like, it smells legit. And he's like, this is so good, Mr. Fox. Where'd you get it from? And he proceeds to literally drink the entire thing.
So he drank an entire, like.
I made a good amount too. He tried to get, Togi and Musha to drink, and they're like, that's not happening. But he would down the whole thing and thought it was great. Yeah.
Little did he.
Whipped cream and white vinegar. I told him.
How you say on the second?
What was that again? Booze?
Okay, Dan.
That's on the,
Hey, is there a question?
Yeah, it's from before, but like, what's the benefit of being pastoral? Because I don't really get how like the Mongols got like so powerful and like conquered mad people. I just don't get it.
Well, so it's an interesting question. What's the benefit? Well, the benefit is that you probably had to organize your society that way, okay? Because where you were living wouldn't support any other way. So as an example, if you go to Mongolia, the one thing that you will learn very quickly is that while it's a big country, beautiful country, it's not very good at supporting crop production. So you'll have these massive grasslands, and then right underneath it, there's a small layer of topsoil, and then it becomes sandy or silty underneath that. So if you are trying to grow crops that have deep roots, they won't last in that world, because there's not enough water down low enough for them to drag it out. But it does have all these vast grasslands, which work really well. So if you're raising cattle and they need grasslands, well, it's easy to move from one place to the other. So if I had to guess, and I haven't looked at this, but if I had to guess from what I know of the Mongolian climate and environment, they became a pastoral society because Mongolia did not lend itself to these fertile crescents, right? Or like in China between the Li and the Yangtze River, right? It did not lend itself to being able to produce massive amounts of crops and having lots of access. Even today, once you get out of the capital of Ulaanbaatar, the only things that really grow are certain root vegetables. Like they get one or two leafy things, but otherwise you're eating potatoes and carrots and like beets or stuff like that. So, and that's still true today. So my guess is that they became a pastoral society out of need or necessity.